Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers for Saturday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers remain undefeated in all eternity in NBA Cup action. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday. And obviously, as you can tell, sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays, no matter how or where you get your podcasts, this one's always free, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where over 26,000 subscribers are reveling in the fact that the Lakers simply do not lose. Whether you call it the IST, the in-season tournament, or now the NBA Cup, they just don't lose these games. The Lakers go into San Antonio on Friday and come out with a very impressive 120-115 win over a Spurs team that is, to say the least, up and coming, and to this point in the season has been very good at home. I know we spoke, Andy, on Friday's episode, and I was not convinced that they were going to be able to come in and win this game because I've been watching a little bit of San Antonio this year and find them to be pretty impressive. So I thought this was certainly the best road game they've played, and one of the better games they've played all season, I think.
I was going to say it's a shame that Rui Hachimura couldn't play in this game. He had an ankle issue that, to be totally honest, took me by surprise because the last game the Lakers played, he played very well in, and I did not hear anything.
It's been reported that he's had the problem, but he was available.
Right. There had been nothing that signaled, at least to me, that he wouldn't play in this game. But what was disappointing to me about him not being in it, just other than the fact that sucks for Rui, is I think this is one of the best games the Lakers have played as a team this season. I actually texted you during the game. I said, regardless of the result, this is, before we knew how it ended, this is one of the best games they've had so far, just evaluating them as a team. Really, really strong performances top down from everyone who played.
We'll get to LeBron and AD here in a second, but just to kind of wrap up what you're talking about with Rui, the benefit, the upside of it is it did open up space and time for Max Christie to get some real run. And this was, again, low bar to clear. It was easily Christie's best game of the season, 11 points, 3 rebounds, a couple steals and a block, but more importantly, played with just tremendous energy, like a different kind of energy than Christie usually, to me, looks like a guy who's sort of tries to stay very contained, not too high, not too low. This was much more of an emotional performance, an aggressive performance.
He was flat out,
was getting, fronting Wemby and doing all kinds of stuff. Like, this was easily the best he's played all year. And it looked different, like literally looked different in terms of how he was carrying himself on the floor, how he moved, the energy and all that stuff that he put out. This Max Christie, as JJ Redick said after the game, is the kind of guy that he didn't want to take off the floor.
Yeah, you had said it was a low bar to clear, and that's true. But in all honesty, this was a really strong performance, period. Like, if Christie had been playing well this year, this still would have been really strong game. Like, he just JJ talked about afterwards, just like his energy in a lot of ways changed the game. He talked about just Christie playing his role to perfection. This was also, I thought, a very good game for for Gabe Vincent. His stats will not jump off the page, just 6 points.
They rarely steals,
do. But they do rarely jump off. But I thought this was a game where Vincent looked much more in the flow of stuff. Like I said, top to bottom, I thought it was a pretty good night for most of the guys who stepped on the floor tonight. And this was an indication, I think, particularly once Rui gets back, and we'll see about Vando and Wood. But as far as the full complement of guys who've been available since the beginning of the season, this version of the Lakers looked like a very good team.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And, the upshot, again, of Rui missing time is, if he is unavailable to play Saturday night against the Pelicans, that gives Christie an opportunity to build on that same performance. And, potentially, if Christie plays really well, puts JJ Redick in a box or, in a bind or something that most coaches want to be in, which is I have more players that deserve playing time than playing time to give them. So we'll see how that goes. The stars of this show were certainly Anthony Davis, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a pair of blocks. LeBron James with his 4th straight double-double.
Triple-double.
Triple-doubles, thank you. 15 points, 16 rebounds, 12 assists. And as he said after the game, he said he was sort of out of sorts offensively as a scorer all night long. But really believes, knows his ability to impact games. Obviously the Lakers got good performances from Reaves. They got good performance from Dalton Knecht in the starting lineup in place of Hachimura. D'Angelo Russell off the bench had, I think, his most comfortable game. I think
it was his most complete game. Like on both sides of the ball, this was a game. D'Lo closed the game. I thought he had some good moments defensively on top of 13 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. I thought it was a very strong game from D'Lo.
It was. But what I mean by comfortable is that it looked the first couple games, even though he played well, did not play well the other night, but he was sick to give him a little bit of a pass. Those first couple games where he came in, he put up good numbers, he scored a lot of it, but it looked like play acting a little bit of like, okay, and I think he's trying to, do the right thing, but he's got to, sometimes you have to talk your way through these things. I'm all about winning. And he's talking to, himself as much as anybody. What stuck out about those first 2 games is I think in both of them combined, I think he had 4 assists. And that's not normally his game. Now, of course, people you're playing with have to hit shots. You're playing with more bench guys. It's a little harder to get those assists, but he was moving the ball more effectively, I thought, on Friday. It was a more comfortable game where he looked like D'Angelo Russell to me and not like a guy who's trying to, okay, how do I play in this situation? How do I play? Just play it. And so if he continues to play, like the Lakers haven't lost since he's gone to the bench. So if they keep winning, he's going to stay there. So this level of comfort where he is scoring at a pretty efficient clip, but also still providing those helpers is a big deal. AD was just awesome in this game. Like, big stage, NBA Cup, head-to-head against Wemby, all that stuff. Wemby, by the way, wasn't so bad himself. 28 points, 14 rebounds. It is just ridiculous to watch him sometimes with that height and the skill set and all that other stuff. But Anthony Davis, 40 points, continues to play at an MVP level. And this was just another one of these games.
I tweeted out during the game at Cam Brothers. Also, we are on Blue Sky, also Cam Brothers as well, if folks want to.
I got to get used to like social mediaing in 2 spots, but we are there. Yes. So please.
Yeah. And getting into the habit of reaching out to our followers on Blue Sky as well as Twitter. But I tweeted out that Anthony Davis entered this season rightly feeling overlooked by NBA media in favor of, among others, Wembanyama. And he clearly didn't like this. And as such, it felt really thematic to me that he outplayed Wemby in their first meeting with a "I'm still here, folks" performance. And so it's clear this is not a shot at Wemby. Like Wemby
played well.
Wemby's phenomenal. He is a problem for the league, but so is AD. Like that's my point. AD is a problem. And I've said this many times, the everydayers will hear it. It has felt to me like AD entered this season with very much a double middle fingers attitude and mission. And I love it. It's awesome.
It's hard to just, like, look, 4 straight triple doubles is impressive. 4 straight triple doubles when you're almost 40 is even.
It's the first time it's happened in LeBron's career.
He's never done it before. Like he has never had 4 consecutive triple doubles. And now he has. At almost 40 years old. And it's like, you can kind of keep saying it, but I do think like when he talks about, and I think this is sort of the arc that his career is going to maybe continue working. And we'll maybe get into it next week. Some of his comments after the game on was it Wednesday, where he said, I'm not going to play forever. It's next year. It's maybe the year after that. And, but it's not going on forever. His mental capacity and ability to control games with things that aren't scoring are going to become, I think, a bigger feature in how he plays. And, you see it. The rebounding is just ferocious. He is an enormous and strong human being. And people, he can muscle his way to almost anywhere he wants to go. So that part of it's really impressive. But the other thing that stuck out is obviously, it's the NBA Cup, and the league continues to encourage players and teams to take this seriously. And I think players do. But more importantly, I think LeBron and AD and around the locker room, they talked about, we were awful in that 5-game road trip. They managed to win a game, but they didn't look good really at any point of it, other than maybe like the Phoenix game to start it off. It was a bad road trip, and they wanted to come out and prove something to themselves about their capacity to play effectively on the road. And again, I think San Antonio is a very good team that is going to be in the playoff race all season long, and potentially could get better game in and game out. If Stephon Castle, for example, improves at the rate he seemed to in this game, finished with 22 and 5, like, this team is a problem. And, they're eventually going to get Jeremy Sohan back, and
Kevin
they're
Vassell
really
is
good.
A very good player.
Yeah, Vassell's really good, and they got good veteran leadership now, guys who make sense in Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul. Further down the rotation with Champagny and Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins, guys who, when they were playing starters minutes, weren't maybe not so great, but like further down in a rotation make much more sense. It's a good team. It's a really good team, and they're exciting and they're fun, and they have a chance to be an Oklahoma City type, make that kind of run over the next couple of years. So you go in and beat them on their home floor. That is a really solid win for the Lakers. And now, and LeBron talked about this too, the opportunity to go and finish the back-to-back with a win over the Pelicans on Saturday. New Orleans did beat Denver, but that was without Nikola Jokic on Friday. So good win for them, obviously, but they're also on the second night of a back-to-back. So if the Lakers can come out and win both of these games, that's a really big deal for them. Meaning turn around and play Utah again on Wednesday at home. You got a good chance of sitting on a 3-game win streak.
We talked after the road trip about how the Lakers were in an interesting position, both as a team, but also for JJ Redick, in terms of this is a, I don't know, crossroads might be overstating it because it's so early in the season, but it's certainly a place where it's like, we are dealing with some adversity. And if we don't reverse the adversity now, that's not going to say that it's going to sink the whole season, but it becomes that much harder to get yourself out of it when you don't handle it now. There's still going to be adversity as the season goes along, but that first bout that we talked about before, that is clearly behind them now.
8-4 with a chance to go 9-4 and a chance to go 10-4, like a realistic, like probably, I mean, really, let's be honest, should be at worst 9-5 at the end of, by Wednesday, the end of the Utah game on Wednesday, but really ought to be 10-4. So we will break down, we'll continue breaking stuff down. We're excited about tomorrow's game, or tonight, depending on when you are hearing this. Locked on Lakers, Andy, though, before we go, we do need to tell you about these things.
Well, first of all, it's brought to you by Chime. You can take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdrafts up to $200, and getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Here's how it works. Just set up a direct deposit in your Chime account. After a qualifying direct deposit of $200 plus, Chime will notify you to enroll in SpotMe. And with an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to $200 when you exceed your balance. And your next direct deposit is applied to your negative balance. And Chime never charges fees or interest for using SpotMe. So make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That's chime.com/NBA. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bank Corp, Bank, NA, or Stride Bank, NA, members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly fees. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosure for details.
Locked on Lakers also brought to you by Game Time. By now, you guys have heard us talk about Game Time and how I use it at the very least. You know, I mention it all the time. My kids, we love to kind of scope out LAFC games and Galaxy games. And, you know, I get to see all-in pricing, so I know exactly how much this event's going to cost. I can track these seats over the course of a day or 2 days or 3 days or a week or whatever I want it to be. I get to see where we're sitting and what the view is going to look like. The kids particularly appreciate that. But it's not just for sports. I've actually been tracking some tickets for an event at Disney Hall. So like you can get anywhere you need a ticket to go. Game Time is the app that can help you get there. So how do you do it? You download the Game Time app, you create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. We will see everyone next time.